Liability management. Liability is your legally recognized obligation to make good on a wrong. So you got to manage your liabilities. You don't want to be making good because you don't want to do wrong. Doing wrong means you hurt someone. You did something that wasn't acceptable. Most organizations are actually very civic-minded and responsible. They want to do the right thing. So alignment of liability management measures with business objectives. You want to achieve your goals without incurring liability. Identify and documentation of potential liabilities. Know what they are. Know where you're at risk and seek to mitigate that. Seek to avoid causing harm so you won't be liable. Implement mitigation strategies. If someone could be hurt, you're doing pizza delivery, 30 minutes or it's free. I seem to remember some pizza company doing that until they started having people run over by their drivers. The driver didn't want to be eating that out of his tips or his profits or getting fired, so he just mowed down pedestrians as he was cruising along. Well, guess what happened to the company? They found that you encouraged the drivers to act irresponsibly. They did so. They were held liable and had to pay damages. Not good. They changed their policy. No longer is it 30 minutes or it's free. They're going to get it to you as quickly as they can, but they're not going to incur liability from the risk of mowing people down. Monitoring and reporting structures, measuring performance. Do your controls work? Are your safeguards keeping damages from occurring? Are your keeping you from having that event, exploit happening? Are your countermeasures minimizing the impact when it does happen? Measure the value and the return on investment. Remember, if your controls cost more than they benefit you, there's no purpose to them. Security should be cost effective. The stockholders are going to look at it and say, you paid $10,000 to avert $3,000 worth of damage. That $7,000 could have ended up in our pockets. Instead, it went somewhere else. Stockholders aren't happy about that. They want to get their dividend. You spend more, you deprive them of their dividend. If you could have averted $10,000 worth of damage for $3,000 and you didn't, they lost $7,000 more. That came out of their dividend as well. They're not happy about that. They want you to balance security with the amount of damages that'll occur. If you find the right match, the stockholders get the biggest benefit. They're not opposed to you spending money. They just want you to spend it wisely to get the best return on investment. And integration with all business processes and departments. All parts of the company need to be looking at the liability they incur for the organization. This can be huge. Remember, this can include punitive damages that go well beyond actual damages. It's not uncommon for punitives to be what's called treble damages, 3 times the amount. So you cause $1 million worth of damage, but they hit you with a $3 million fine in addition to the actual damages. So you're out $4 million on a $1 million mistake. That's going to affect the bottom line pretty heavily. No company ever wants to be hit with negligence. They never want to be hit with punitive. Manage your liabilities, do the right thing, and when you do have liability, make sure they're small and you've taken action to mitigate them, because when a court looks at it and says, what did you do to avoid this? You can show, I did this, this, and this. Did everything reasonable. You'll still have to pay the actual damages, but actual is small compared to punitive.